y'all, it's Bren. I'm back. I know it's been a really long time, probably a couple of years even since I've updated this channel. And that's because life has been pretty normal and I haven't had too much going on. There hasn't been any drama, there's been nothing to talk about. But now my life is chaotic again. So I'm back to talk about it on the internet. I have actually spent the last 2 hours trying to figure out how to get the new computer set up to film best. So I finally got a new computer with a new webcam. My old computer was a 2013 MacBook and the webcam was terrible. It was very dark, very grainy. And this one clearly has a better webcam. I'm still not super clear, but I'm fine with that because you don't need to see the bags under my eyes or my pores or anything. But the lighting is much better. It's actually very dark in here right now, which I like. I was going for mood lighting. It's late on a Friday. I've had quite a week, quite a month actually. I'm just trying to relax. But I did a little test, video, and the audio was terrible because the microphone on this new computer apparently horrible, way worse than my 10-year-old computer. And you don't want to spend $2,000 on a new computer just to find out that something about it is worse than your old one. So it was very frustrating, and I've been messing around with the settings and Googling things and trying to fix it. And then I finally gave up and I was like, well, I do have one external microphone. So this is what we're recording sound on today. An old pair of headphones, which I'm not wearing because then they rustle around and you get like the noise of my hair moving and stuff. So instead it's balancing on a Kleenex box in front of me. And this old pair of headphones, I don't even use wired headphones anymore. It's been years. Had to dig these out of a closet. This microphone is better than the one on the brand new computer that I just bought. But whatever. I've restarted this video a few times already because I'm having a hard time finding my groove again with the blogging. And I really thought that I was going to come back and start by talking about my most recent relationship, because that's generally what I do on this channel. I talk about my romantic endeavors and breakups and heartaches and online dating and all of that. And I do have another story for you. But actually I've had a lot more now recently going on that has kind of just changed everything. If I just talk about last week, or actually, I guess 2 weeks ago, the last 2 weeks, let's see, at the same time that my boyfriend was moving out, my dad went and had surgery for a tumor, and I got the flu all at the same time. I'm better now. I still have a cough. It's still in my lungs a little bit. But I took 4 COVID tests and they were all negative. So I don't think it was COVID. But, that part I'm least concerned about. But yeah, it's like I was going through, honestly, I don't even know if we're broke up. I don't know if we're still dating. I don't know the status of this relationship. I've just had too much other stuff going on. But it's been a very bizarre month. It's been a bizarre few months. I don't know if any of you have been in a situation where you live with someone and then they're going to move out, but they haven't moved out yet. It's weird. And I've been going through that. And then a couple Fridays ago, 2 weeks ago, actually, I was at work and I got a text from my mom that they went to the emergency room because my dad was throwing up and stuff, and he'd been having some stomach problems, but we thought it was food poisoning. It was not. He had a tumor in his small intestines. And so I spent Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the hospital. Friday he had the surgery, they removed it, and then we were waiting for biopsy results. So Sunday I'm at the hospital trying to help out. We're taking shifts, my mom, my sister, and I. He has a tube in his nose down into his stomach and everything. It was brutal. And I started to feel a little sick. I started to feel like my throat was kind of scratchy, kind of irritated. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Am I getting sick? And then Monday I was like, yeah, I'm sick. So then I couldn't even be at the hospital anymore. And then on that Wednesday was the day that the movers were coming to move my boyfriend out, or ex-boyfriend. Again, I don't even know what to call him. While I had 102-degree fever, and I was worried about my dad. It's just, everything is chaos. And I feel like in the past, when I started this channel, I was in my 30s and I came on here and I talked all about my different, ex-boyfriends and everything. The thing is, I've made videos about other things. I made a video about music. I made a video about writing. Those don't get views. People don't care. The videos that get views that people are interested in that they comment on are the ones where I do talk about my dating life. But then I would get comments from people saying like, "Oh my gosh, like what a mess she is. Her life is, she just does not have it together at all. I can't believe this woman in her 30s or upper 30s, her life is so chaotic and such a mess." And I feel as though, even though maybe romantically I don't have it together, I don't talk about the ways in which I do have it together because that's boring and no one wants to hear about it. But like, I do feel that I need to give the disclaimer that like, I mostly have it together. Like financially, I have it together. I can support myself. I own my home. I have a good mortgage rate. I have great credit. I like very much enjoy my career, and I recently got promoted and I got a raise, which is why I bought the new computer. And thank God that work is going really well right now because like I need that. Like I need a win. I need something to be going really well. And I'm really enjoying I worked for this place for 7 years. And I was getting kind of frustrated with the fact that I still had the same title as when I started and was not making a lot of money. And it is a career of passion. I work in higher education. So, you're not doing it for the money, but like I deserved more. And I was starting to look for other opportunities because I was getting kind of frustrated, and my career has not been like a straight upward trajectory. Like some people, mine has been more like, like I've tried different things and I went back to grad school and then I tried this for a while. And, I finally feel like I'm getting somewhere. For a long time, my like self-worth and confidence would be kind of affected by the fact that I felt like career-wise I should be more advanced than I was. But now I feel a new sense of self-worth with this promotion and this title raise and this financial raise. And I feel it's not like a lot or anything like that, but it's more livable. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is like, again, thank goodness my job is going well right now because I really need a win. And also like, I don't talk about the ways that I have it together on this channel because it sounds braggy, but also it's boring. And I don't need to talk about that. I only talk about the things that are going bad, but it doesn't mean that like, that's all there is to me, right? I feel like it's the Taylor Swift effect. Like this woman can be the most successful woman in the world. She's a billionaire now, but everyone just is like, oh, she can't find a man. She goes from guy to guy to guy to guy. And it's like, well, at least she can turn it into a great art form, right? I just sit here and talk about it. But I don't want to talk about that tonight, my most recent relationship. I do want to talk about it, but I kind of feel like it's maybe too soon. Like if I really started getting into that right now, I might, I don't know, nitpick or I don't know, I'm too close to it. I'm too close to it to really dive into that. But I will say that, we started dating we met in like February 2022, not long after the relationship I had before that ended, which was the long kind of situationship. That was a mess. I need to do a video on that as well. In hindsight, that relationship was so messed up. But yeah, I met this guy in February 2022. We were dating by the end of that March. We had a little breakup in July, again, that I filmed about. Then we got back together. And in October 2022, he moved in with me. That, I don't regret getting back together after the breakup because I do feel like we had more to gain from being together. But the moving in was too soon, especially considering that he had kids. I was trying to help him financially by letting him live here for both of our sakes. I thought it would be better if he could save money. But as soon as he moved in, really, things started going kind of downhill in ways that I'll explain in a future video. But I right away kind of was questioning if it had been the right decision. And I would say for the past, at least 5 or 6 months, I kind of have known that like it wasn't working. And so yeah, he moved out. And again, we never really said if we were broken up or not. We grabbed a drink together last night. We're still talking. He still wants to play on my family's trivia team. And like, but I don't know, like, are we friends now? Are we still dating? I've brought these things up and like neither one of us really has an answer. So we're just kind of in this limbo. But I will say this. I've had several of my exes tell me that maybe I am just the kind of person that should be on my own because I'm really good at being single. Like, I'm just a very independent person. I love living alone. I'm happy on my own. As long as I have friends and I have like a social life and things to do, I really like my alone time too. And the first couple nights that he was gone, it was sad, but it wasn't like, it was sad in like a this is sad kind of way, but I don't hate being on my own again. I'm really good at being single. I really like having the place to myself, just me and my pets, just my stuff, and I have so much more room now. We were so cramped here with both our things and the kids and all of their things. I don't know. I like sleeping alone. I don't know. I told my mom, and in the past, my mom has always kind of, I don't know. She's not convinced that I actually like being single and being on my own. And a lot of people are like that. I mean, I get a lot of like TikToks and Instagram reels about like the single life and single women on their own. And then in the comments, people are brutal. They're just like, there's no way you could be happy like that. You just can't get a guy or you just can't get a partner. Like, here's the thing. There are people that are happier in a relationship, and then there are people that are actually happier on their own. We're all different. We're not all the same. So just because you are happier in a relationship doesn't mean that everyone is that way. And it's taken a long time for my mom to accept that maybe I am just better on my own and I'm happy like this. But when I told her, I was like, I don't know, it is nice. I do like living on my own. She's like, oh, you're just like Diane, which is her friend who has always been kind of single and just like dated around, but like lived on her own. And I was like, that's progression, because instead of trying to tell me that I'm wrong and clearly I need to be with someone, she just was like, oh, you and Diane, So even if she doesn't understand it, maybe she's accepting it. I don't think it's that, like, being single is top tier for me. I just think that, like, I'm more content than a lot of people. Like, I think if you took a scale of, like, 1 to 10, and 1 was, like, you're miserable, your life sucks, and 10 is, like, you're so happy, like, everything in your life is amazing, it's great. If we speak in terms of, like, just romantically, of course, there are a lot of things that affect your happiness, like your job, pets, friends, hobbies. But if we talk in terms of, like, just your romantic status, I think for a lot of people, they would put being single, being on their own as like a 3 maybe. Like, it's not their ideal situation. They don't prefer it. They don't like it. They want to be in a relationship. I, in my early 30s, was like that. I really wanted to be in a relationship. And so if your, happiness level romantic wise is like a 3 if you're single, and then you meet someone who brings your happiness level up to like a 5, like, that's an improvement, right? If you can find a 6 or a 7, great. I think for me, like, on my scale of 1 to 10, like, being single and being on my own I'm like a 7.5, like, in contentness. Like, I'm pretty okay. I kind of like it. I like a lot of things about being on my own. It doesn't mean that I couldn't meet a guy that would put me at an 8 or a 9, that a guy that would make me happier than I am being on my own. But it just, I don't know. It has to really be a better situation. Like, if I meet a guy that puts me at a 5 or 6 happiness, I would be more happy on my own. And I'm not rating the men. I'm not saying like a guy who's a 6 versus a guy who's a 9 or whatever. I'm just saying a man who makes my level of happiness, fluctuate there. I think with my last relationship, I knew he wasn't going to make me a 9 or a 10 happy. I knew he wasn't perfect, but I thought maybe this guy, me and him, I'll be at an 8 level of contentness, which would be better than being on my own. But I think I learned that I was more at like a 6. So it was kind of like, I'd be happier on my own. And at the end, I know that he kind of felt the same way. Yeah, he didn't seem surprised at all when I brought up that he should move out, and he seemed to have already maybe been thinking about it and looking, and it's like we're on good terms. It's fine. I'm not going to get into that in this video though. What I will say, and I don't want to belabor the point too much about what happened with my dad, because I know, I mean, it sounds cliche. Everybody has a cancer story now. I mean, everyone I know has known someone with cancer. A lot of people have dealt with their parents having cancer. And so nothing I'm going to say is probably like unique or monumental. And I know it's not, it's a downer. But just to give you kind of a brief overview of what happened. So a couple weeks ago, he went to the ER. We had thought that he had food poisoning because he'd had some stomach problems for a few weeks, maybe even a couple months. We thought it was like really bad reoccurring food poisoning. But no, he had a tumor in his small intestine, which a colonoscopy does not find because it's too high. In fact, there's not really screening tests for it. You don't really usually find out about it till it's making you sick. So I went to the hospital and my sister was there. Now, another thing that's maybe slightly chaotic is that I don't speak to my sister's boyfriend, my nephew's father. We do not get along for a lot of reasons. And my mother would kill me if I, quote, aired our dirty laundry on the internet and got into it too much. But he and I just do not agree on anything. I don't like a lot of the slurs that he uses. I don't like how he talks to my sister sometimes. And prior to my sister having my nephew, it didn't matter as much. It frustrated me. I didn't like him. We got into it a few times. But my sister always kind of picked guys that I didn't always gel with, and it was just like whatever. But now that there's like a baby, it hits different for me. And I don't know. We've just gotten into it one too many times, and I kind of was just like, I'm done with this guy. I'm done with this guy. I just really probably needed some time to cool off, but then my nephew's birthday rolled around this past August, which is the same as my birthday. We have the same birthday. He was born on my birthday last year. And I was told that I wasn't invited to the party, which, fine, but I wasn't even allowed to get him a gift. Obviously I did, but it wasn't welcome. Oh, computer problem. The screensaver came on while I was recording. Okay, my old computer didn't do that. I think we're rocking and rolling again. I'm going to keep going. Hopefully this microphone is still working. So anyway, it's just a little awkward because I never had a problem with my sister, but she chose to not talk to me because I wasn't talking to him. And anyway, obviously we had to see each other through this whole experience. The surgeon did surgery Friday night and then came out, and he was very bizarre bedside manner. And he came out to talk to my mom and my sister and I, and the surgery went well. But he was not consoling us at all. He really let us know that like it looked like cancer to him, and it looked like it had spread to the lymph nodes. And he's like, I know what you want to hear, but I'm telling you the truth. Like you need to prepare yourself, and just kind of made it sound like it was going to be really bad. My mom and my sister, they're both more religious than I am, but I think that more so it's just the way that they cope with things is they want to know, like, what are the chances? They kept asking, like, statistics, how, like, what's the % chance of this and that? And the doctor would not give us those answers. They both, I think, when they're in a situation that they can't control, rely on, like, prayer to feel like they have some kind of control over the situation. They will pray for the certain outcome that they want. I more so want to, like, I more feel in control of a situation if I can do something. Give me a to-do list and let me start checking things off that to-do list. So they are going to like, oh my gosh, let's just pray that it's benign. Maybe it's benign. Or my sister is going the other way and just jumping to the worst case scenario. She's crying like, oh my gosh, my son's not going to have a grandpa. Like, and I am like, whoa, you need to slow down. I am more like, okay, what's the next step? So if it is cancer, who are we going to see for oncology? Where are we going to go? What's the treatment plan going to look like? Who do I need to call? Do I need to get on the phone with Medicare, with their supplement plan, with the pharmacy, with the doctors? What appointments do we need? I'm like, give me all of that, because that's going to help me to feel like I'm doing something. And at one point, my mom said to me that she thought I was in denial because I guess like her and my sister are in tears and upset. And I was just trying to be like the calm one who could like keep it together and make sense of what the doctors were saying and take notes. It wasn't that I was in denial. If anything, it was the opposite. It was that I had already accepted that it was cancerous and was trying to figure out what to do about it. In the first few days after the surgery, there was nothing we could do. We were just waiting for results. We didn't know if it was cancer or not. And so it was just trying to help him recover from the surgery. And I think what was the most bizarre for me is, I mean, I know that I'm 41 now, and a lot of people my age have already lost parents. So in a way, I'm lucky that like this is the first major health problem that either one of my parents has had. You know how they say, like, there's a point in your 20s, maybe your early 20s, when you realize that like your parents are people and they're flawed. You know, I realized that a long time ago, but I think there's also this point at which later in life you realize that your parents are now weaker than you are, that they're vulnerable. And that's just weird for me because to me, my dad is still in my eyes and always has been the dad that I had when I was a little girl. You know, my strong dad who could do anything, who has it together. And so seeing him in a more vulnerable state, it just really screwed with my head. There was a point at which, you know, they want him to get up and walk around after surgery so he doesn't get blood clots and it'll help him heal faster. And we decided to go on a walk, and he still got the tube down into his stomach, and he just like stopped after a few steps, and he was like, the tube moved, and he was like, it's bad, it's really bad, it's not good, it's pulling on something. And I had to get the nurse, and then they brought the doctor in, and it was just not a good situation. And I don't know. And I think I just kept thinking as well, like one of the first things that my mom said after we talked to the surgeon that night was like, she was just like, man, he deserves a retirement. He's 68 and he just retired in May. And he has so many things that he wants to do. And he's worked so hard his whole life. And now we're working on publishing all these books. He's always written a lot of books. I'm editing them for him, working on getting them self-published and getting them up. He runs an eBay store for comic books. He's a comic collector. He has joined all these golf leagues. He had just joined an indoor golf league for the winter. He loves golfing. He's going on all these trips. We do pub trivia every week, and he gets really into it, and he shows up, and he's like, okay, I wrote down all the state capitals, and I've got your mom memorizing the periodic table. Like, he's very into it. And he has a brand new grandson, his first, probably only, I don't know, grandkid. I mean, I'm not having any. And it's like, oh, if this had happened 10 years from now, it would still suck, but it would feel less unfair. It feels like he just retired and he was just really enjoying retirement and doing all these things, finally getting a chance to do all these things that he wanted to do, and now he has to deal with this. So then I got the flu, so I couldn't see him, so I'm just checking in via phone, dealing with the move and what's going on with that, and just finally today, 2 weeks later, he has an appointment with the surgeon this afternoon to get the staples taken out, or he had, yeah. And we went. We walked in there, all four of us. We got a couple looks from the nurses like, oh, we need to get you another chair because we're all in this little room together. But like, I had called that morning to verify, like, are we getting results today? Because they had said the results would take 3 to 5 days, and it's been 2 weeks. And the surgeon has to go through this long spiel, and we're all just sitting there like, how bad is it? How bad is it? The tumor was cancerous. And he goes on and on and on about that, and then he proceeds to say, but it does not appear to have spread to the lymph nodes. And I clapped, and my sister started crying, and my mom goes, why didn't you start with that? Because that was the information that we were waiting for. That was going to determine so much. The fact that it didn't spread, and that surgeon had told us it looked like it had. So I was already in my mind, like, planning for stage 3 and what the treatment plan was going to be for that. But it turns out it's only really stage 2 because it does not appear to have spread, which is a huge relief. It means that at this point they could have got it all. However, apparently it is a weird situation. He said that it had stumped him and the surgeon who did the surgery, who's not who we met with today. So it was this team of 2 surgeons. It had them both stumped, and it had the pathologist stumped because this type of cancer usually originates on the inner lining of the small intestines, but his inner lining was clear. The tumor was on the outside. And there's only a few places that this kind of cancer cell can develop, and it's like lungs, prostate, intestines. They checked all of those areas. They scanned all those areas on him. They didn't see it anywhere. But since they don't really know where it originated, it's weird that it would start going on the outside of the intestines like this if it didn't come from somewhere else. He still needs to see an oncologist. He still might need chemo. We're not out of the woods. But, like, the fact that it wasn't in the lymph nodes is huge. So we all went to Chili's afterwards. And we were all just, like, relieved. Because it's not that bad of news. Like, it is cancer. And we're not done yet. It's not over. But, like, it's not dire. It's pretty good news. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky because I thought I was going to be filming this blog and telling you about how it was going to be bad and touch and go. And I really thought this was going to be a different video. And so my emotions are just all over the place tonight because I'm like relieved, but I'm also exhausted. I almost didn't do this. I was almost like, I'm just going to take a nap because I just feel like maybe finally I can sleep. Oh my God, you guys, I'm going to cry. I feel like maybe there was something else I wanted to say, but I can't think of it now. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned because I'm pretty sure I'll have more. All right. Bye.